Hey, welcome to Mama Mandala. I'm Hagar. I'm so happy to have this moment with you. This is released in January. Don't worry, if you're watching this later on at a completely different time, this can still apply. This can still be a meaningful practice. But I am releasing this during the time of the year that is still slow and still dark, although, of course, the modern world is pushing us faster and further into action. But the natural world is still in this slower pace. Things are not emerging yet. There is this blanket of darkness that's still covering the soil, the earth. Maybe if you're in a cold, climate place, this is a time where the frost is fully frosty and the snow is on the ground. So things are not yet in growth, but they're more in dream mode. And we can take that in our lives, even if we're living, I live in LA, it's pretty warm here most of the time. So even if we're not living in a place where there's winter that's strong, even if we're watching this and playing with this at a time that is completely different and the energy is very different, even if you're in the southern hemisphere and this is the beginning of summer, we can all benefit from the rooting ourselves and moving ourselves inwardly in the direction of our visualization and envisioning of things. The yogis saw that the center of vision in our system is in the third eye, in the space on our forehead between our eyebrows, right? That the inner vision comes from there, that the envisioning comes from there. And this is also the sixth chakra, and if you're looking at the chakras as a 7 chakra system, this is the seat of our intuition. And I sometimes like to consider that intuition is heightened instincts, that our ability to see a little bit beyond what is seen and to feel something really deeply inside of us is the sensitivity and the heightened sense of our instincts, when we're connecting to something in us that is actually deeply natural, that is with the rhythms of the natural world, with the season. I love connecting to the seasons. I think it's a great way for us to counterbalance some of the things that are being imposed on us from the overculture. And it's not a fight, but rather a softening into the cyclicality of our being. So come into your mat and bring yourself into child's pose so that your third eye, that center of vision, can rest on the earth. Bring your big toes to touch and take your knees wide apart. Walk your upper body forward so your forearms are on the earth and your forehead is on the ground. I'm not going to place mine fully on the ground because then my voice will be really muffly. So I'm leaving mine lifted, but you place your forehead fully on the earth and let the ground underneath you put a little bit of pressure back into the third eye area in your body, in your head, so that you can feel into it. And now the chakras are, let's just be honest about this, right? This is something that people imagined. This is not a scientific term. It's not a concept that is proven. We don't have 5 or 7 or infinite wheels that spin inside our system, right? It is an imagined system. And that doesn't make it less real or less profound or less helpful for us. In fact, that seat, the Ajna chakra, the 6th chakra, that is the seat of imagination, where the vision is beyond what is here, right? When we can see something from inside and visualize something that hasn't yet happened. And through this process, we can begin to weave the fabric of reality in a different way. Breathe slowly right now, slow, deep breaths that allow you to receive yourself as a creative being that imagines. See yourself how you'd like to be more this year. It can be a physical thing that you're seeing, but it can also be something inside of you that you wish to cultivate. So see it inside of you. And as you breathe, connect to it more deeply. So every inhalation allows you to touch that part of you, or those parts of you that you wish to bring forth more as the season unfolds, as the year unfolds, as this phase in your life unfolds. If you haven't yet, bring a tone to the back of the throat so you can slow your breath down even more, and the breath makes this resonant sound. And touch those visions of who you'd like to be and what you'd like to create with every inhalation, and with every exhalation, imagine it, visualize it coming through, coming forth, pouring out. Bring yourself to all fours, to your hands and your knees, and keep breathing deeply as you inhale and reach your hips back and your chest forward. Ground the inner edges of your hands and the tips of your fingers into the earth. And exhale, looking towards your navel and round your back. And let the vision, let the gaze transition sometimes out of you, forward, up, inhale, hips back, chest forward. And sometimes back inwardly, exhale, round your back, look towards your navel, connect more deeply into the core of you. And from there, back out as you also simultaneously receive the world with an inhalation. Vision transitions outwardly as the breath moves inwardly. And then the breath moves out and the vision turns back in. And let that be layered and in contradiction. One more. Inhale, hips back, chest forward. Let that be a both end, an ambiguous process. Let the inner vision layer your being. Inhale to the space between cat and cow. Because Ajna Ćakra, exhale slowly to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, that seat of vision and imagination and intuition, is also the seat of light and color. Inhale the right leg up. Exhale, bring your foot forward in between your hands, and then bring your forearm to your thigh. Come up high on the fingertips of your right hand and let your head rest on the palm of your hand. Bring your left knee to the floor. So the forehead, the third eye, is resting right now on the palm of your hand. As the forearm, the elbow leans into the thigh. Left knee is on the floor. Breath slow and deep. And so this seat of color gives us colors. It gives us textures. It gives us more than one thing, right? Hands back down to the floor. It gives us a multiplicity, exhale to downward facing dog, of experience and of ways of seeing things and thinking of things. Left leg up, deep breath in. So it allows us to move away, exhale the foot forward in between your hands, from the rigidity of our mind. Left forearm to the left thigh, up high on the fingertips of your right hand. Lean your head into your hand and bring your right knee down to the floor. And it kind of looks a little bit like, oh man, kind of like a face plant emoji. But it's your head resting into your hands so that you can feel that space, so that you can turn the way that you're looking at things inwardly, so that you can breathe into a multitude of ways of being you and seeing the world and understanding others. Exhale, bring your hand down and step it back slowly, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, hands root deeply into the earth. Inhale, bring your shoulders over your wrists into plank pose, and with an exhalation, keep your hands rooted down deeply to the floor and bring your hips down to the ground. Point your feet, spread your toes, lift your chest, deep breath in. Imagine your head and it resting into your hand and your hand pressing your head back a little bit. Deep, slow inhale. Move the top part of your shoulders back a little bit more without cranking it back, without forcing it, and allow your chest to open up. Slowly exhale and reach up and back into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Right leg up, deep inhale. Exhale, step your foot forward in between your hands and ground through the legs and reach your arms up to the sky. Bring your right hand behind your head and your left hand to your forehead. And with your hands, as you engage your legs and pull them towards one another and bend deep into the right leg and keep your legs really strong, with your hands, gently press into your head. So your right hand allows your head to rest back into it, but it's also pushing your head a little forward, and you can use your right hand to lengthen the base of your skull up into the crown of your head, and with your left hand press into your forehead so your third eye is supported and the third eye is inside, and you lean into it from the back and from the front. Deep breath in, reach both of your arms up. Exhale, bring your hands down to the floor and step your back foot forward into Uttanasana, forward bend. And you can bend your knees a little bit if you're tighter in your hamstrings and if your lower back is hurting and it's tight. Stretch over your legs, whether they're straight or not. And if it's still a lot for you and even bending your knees is not really helping, you can put your hands on blocks or even on a couch or on chair or on a table. Look forward, inhale, halfway up. Exhale slowly and fold back in. Interlace your fingers behind your head and use your hands to elongate the back of your head. Lengthen the back of your head through the crown of your head and gently press your head back into your hands as if you had one hand on the front, on the forehead. Breathe. And envision what you'd like to see more of this year. Collectively, personally, as we move ourselves into a year that we know is not going to be the easiest for many of us. A lot of us are really dreading what's happening in the US. Really dreading having this fascist regime enter the White House, right? So we breathe and we envision more of what we'd like to see in ourselves in relationship to this reality. Fingertips to the floor. Inhale and look forward, halfway up. And with an exhalation, step your left foot back. Bring your left knee down to the floor. You can put a blanket underneath your back knee if you need a little bit more help. And reach your arms up high. Deep breath in. If your knee is hurting, patting it a little bit underneath. You can also fold your mat like that in the middle. So find a way to make it less hard on your knee if you need to. Now draw both of your legs towards each other. So your right foot pulls back towards your left knee and your left knee pulls forward. And draw the front of your hip bones towards one another as well. So that bony part of the front of your hip, pull those two towards one another on both sides. Draw the sides of the ribs towards the center. And as you pull that in, reach your upper body up. Bring your right hand behind your head and your left hand to the front of your forehead and create a little pressure in your head as you lean your head back perhaps. Arms up, deep breath. And exhale, touch the ground, step back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale to plank pose, shoulders over your wrists, ground your hands down. Exhale, bring your hips down and your chest forward and up, and maybe move your cobra a little bit side to side, which is another way for us to learn to look at more than just one side, right? More than just forward, more than just through the lens that sort of tends to be our tendency of vision, so that our gaze is able to move and shift and we can learn more. Deep breath in and we can have more understanding. Exhale to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Left leg up, deep breath in. Exhale, step your foot forward in between your hands. Ground, root, anchor through your feet. Reach your arms up high, crescent pose, deep breath. Legs are strong. Root both of them into the earth and pull them towards one another. Draw the front of your hip bones towards the center. Draw the sides of the ribs towards the center. So with this deep engagement, put your left hand behind your head and your right hand on your forehead and create a lift in your neck, in your head, as you create a groundedness through the feet. Breathe deeply and root and ground and draw inside yourself. And let the vision from the inside then pour out. Let the way that you're connecting to the vision inside and to that seat of color be a way to contact your inner light, but know that it must be embraced by darkness. Not dispel it. Reach your arms up. Although sometimes that's its role. Exhale, touch the ground, back foot forward. Uttanasana. Inhale and look forward, halfway up. Exhale, fold back in. The darkness has been so intensely demonized. Interlace the fingers behind your head. And what the darkness has been demonized by is by forces that have been also destroying the planet, destroying indigenous people and people of color. Use your hands to elongate your spine. Destroy the feminine, women, non-binary people, trans people. Forces that have been uninterested in acknowledging, connecting, and working with darkness are the forces that have been most damaging for the majority of the planet. Fingertips to the ground. Inhale, look forward. So we can learn as we turn the vision inside. Exhale, step your right foot back and bring your right knee down to the earth. Inhale, reach your arms up, Anjaneyasana. We can learn how to reclaim and reconnect to the darkness that embraces the light. The light is born out of the darkness. Look at the universe. It's mostly dark matter that embraces these incredibly beautiful points of light. Put your left hand behind your head and your right hand in front of your forehead and create that little pressure in your head. Breathe deeply. Draw the front of your hip bones towards each other and the sides of the ribs to the center as you lift your chest up, as you create that pressure in your head and lean back a little bit. Arms up deep, inhale. Exhale, touch the ground and step back. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, shoulders of your wrists into plank pose. And exhale, lower yourself all the way down to the ground this time. Bring your right forearm in front of you. Bend your left knee and spread your toes. Reach back with your left hand and grab your left foot and bring your left foot close in. Now, if you have the flexibility in your shoulder and in your thigh on your left side, you can turn your hand over your toes. Elbow goes back and you can pull it in a little bit more. If you don't have the flexibility for it, it doesn't matter because you're still getting a really nice opening. Okay, so you can still hold on to the inner edge of your foot and push your foot back as you pull it in, and you don't have to turn your fingers over your toes. It's not a requirement. It just depends on where you are. Can we include in our vision the capacity or the growth of the capacity to receive ourselves where we are, so that we can also be more patient and receive others where they are, and create change? It's not receiving where we are is not instead of making changes, making things better. Inhale and release the left leg slowly, and bring your left forearm in front of you. Bend your right knee, grab your right foot with your right hand. So hold the inner edge of your foot, spread your toes, and bring your foot closer in towards your right hip, and maybe turn your fingers over your toes, and maybe not. In any case, use your hand to push your foot back into, and use your hand to also go a little deeper into the stretch, so that there's a little bit of resistance between the foot and the hand. Receiving where we are is an important, necessary part of the process, but everything is always in process. So it's not instead of changing, it's before changing. Because it's really hard to change things, to transform things, to alchemize, to make a shift, if we are not first and foremost receiving and coming to terms with the space that we're in. Slowly release the leg back. And then lie all the way down. I'm not going to lie down so that I don't crush the mic. Breathe slowly. And then bend both of your knees and reach back with both of your hands, and then push your feet, spread your toes and push your feet back into the hands to lift yourself up. This is bow pose, and the bow and the arrow require precision. They require the ability to look very carefully and see things very clearly. Push your feet back and lift your legs up, and then exhale, slowly release and come all the way down. And that is really, really important as we move into the years, we move into the process of bringing our vision into form, pulling our dreams out of inside of us, and forming and weaving them into reality. But being able to also have a gaze that is very soft, the blurry, dreamy kind of a vision. It's not the vision with which we stretch our bow and send the arrow somewhere. It's a different kind of vision. And we want to, I say we because but maybe you do too, want to cultivate the ability to, again, see in more ways, So it's not just see with clarity. It's also see with dreaminess. And it's also seeing with a different lens. And it's also going up the mountains and looking down. And it's also going into the cave and looking in. It's how many perspectives, lenses, and capacities to envision can we cultivate. Bend your knees, spread your toes, reach back with your hands, grab your feet and push your feet back, strengthen your legs, engage your toes and push your legs back and lift your legs up and let your upper body, let your torso rise from your legs pushing back and lifting up. Deep breath in, and with an exhalation slowly lower down, spin around and lie on your back. Let the front of your head lean into the back right now, so that you can feel the connection to your third eye through the back of your head. Slow breath, mindful breath. And maybe there are some places that you want to go this year, some things that you really want to do, and it's not where you are right now. There's going to be some steps that you're going to need to take. So we build a bridge, and it's one brick at a time, or one rope at a time, or one breath at a time as we build as we build our path, as we carve our path toward what we'd like to see more of. So bend your elbows, reach your fingertips to the sky and press the back of your head into the floor and let the front of your head lean into it. And you can touch it to kind of remind you of that seat, of that center. Ground your feet, and with an inhalation, with your legs strong and anchored, lift your hips up. Your knees will tend to maybe spread a little bit. So pull the legs in, but also push them out. So there's strength in your legs and strength in your glutes. And then push your elbows down to lift your chest up more. Maybe walk your shoulders a little bit more deeply in, back of your head, roots into the earth. Deep breath in, lengthen. From your hips into your knees and into your feet. From your hips all the way through the crown of your head. Slow breath in. And a slow breath out. Envision the parts of the journey. See some of the steps that you need to take. Build a bridge. Deep breath in. And exhale, slowly lower down. Open the arms out to the sides and separate your feet so they're as wide as your mat. So feet as wide as your mat. Deep breath in. And with an exhalation, take your knees to the right. Let them drop. Turn your head a little bit to the left. Slow breath. Inhale your knees back to center. And exhale your knees to the left as you turn your chest and your head to the right. Slow, deep, mindful breaths. Inhale your knees back to center and bring your knees a little bit more towards your chest so your feet are off the floor, not fully into your chest, but lift them up. Make your thighs vertical and your shins parallel to the floor. Open the arms out to the side and then exhale your knees to the right as you turn your chest to the left. Ground your left shoulder into the earth. Slow breath in. Slow breath out. See the parts of you that are easy for you to be with, so that they can support you in seeing the parts that are harder for you to be with. As we expand our vision, we learn to see the shadow, we learn to see more in the dark, but as we expand our capacity to see in the dark, we also know that the more of the darkness we see, the more of the darkness there is. The greater the horizon of our knowledge, the greater the horizon of our ignorance, right? The more we know that we don't. Inhale your knees back to center. The more of you see, the more of you there is to see. Exhale, turn your knees to the left and turn your shoulder, right shoulder into the earth, the chest to the right, the head to the right. And that can be frustrating, but it's also an invitation to continue to grow, an invitation to continue the conversation, an invitation to keep becoming more of ourselves, to keep expanding the vision of who we are. Knees to center, deep breath. And now hug your knees all the way into your chest. Give yourself a warm embrace, allowing as many parts of you as you can right now into this hug. And when you're ready, release your arms and your legs and allow your body to soften and surrender its weight to the pull of gravity, to the earth beneath you. And stay here for as long as you can, as long as you'd like. And please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Put a like on this video if you liked it. Share it with your people. And subscribe to our mailing list over on mamamandala.com. I'm going to leave a link for you to subscribe right in the description of this video. Or you can just go to mamamandala.com and find it, explore what we have there. And I can't wait to see you again, to see together again, to see each other again. Thank you so, so much. Namaste.